Did Ken rock your boat or did Boris win your vote? It's been a tight fight with Boris leading in the afternoon and Ken passing him out in the evening, but we will only know by tomorrow's count. So what happens now? Well, Jonathan Joseph is our political reporter. He can enlighten us. Evening, Jonathan.
Evening, Jumoke.
A nail-biting day. What's going to be happening over the next few hours?
Well, the simple answer is now we wait. It's not going to be a short and sweet thing like general elections are. The mayoral contest, we're expecting a result in that, finding out who is going to be the victor.
Yeah.
Probably either Ken Livingstone or Boris Johnson. One of those two should be revealed sometime after 5 o'clock tomorrow evening as our next mayor here in London.
It's been a tightly fought contest, hasn't it? I mean, you had the three main leads, and then you had all the subsidiaries. Obviously, there were 10 people in total who were who had put their name forward to be London mayor. But those three really kind of led at the front, didn't they?
Absolutely. I mean, it's widely been titled as Ken versus Boris, but those are obviously the two big names that are on everybody's lips. The two people who are known by just the one name. They're big brands, they're big personalities, and they've been all over the place. All the interviews across TV, radio, online, all the newspapers have been picking up on what they think. But Brian Paddick, he's fighting the race for the Liberal Democrats, and he's been quite positive that his voice is being heard and that people will vote for him. He's remained hopeful. He says that you'll be surprised come the outcome. He still thinks he might just win, but I'm doubtful about that. I think it's really between Ken and Boris.
Sure.
And but it's going to be so close on those first preference votes. Remember, we've got this two choices that everybody has to mark on their ballot paper. So we'll have Ken and Boris most likely to be the top two, but if neither of them gets 50% of the votes on that first count, then the second preference votes of the vote of London's electorate will be counted, and when people have voted for Ken or Boris in their second choice vote, those will be added to the piles of the first choice votes, and that way one of them will reach that magic 50% target.
And this was quite fascinating when people were trying to explain it. I was asked to host a mayoral hustings at St Martin's in the Field with Ken, Boris, Brian Paddick and Alan Craig. And the thing that struck me was Ken sat there saying, well, actually, worst case scenario, I wouldn't mind if Brian was my deputy or something like that. And that was quite an interesting thing. And obviously Brian Paddick has the experience of being on the beat and being a policeman and all that kind of stuff, which he could bring to, if Ken got re-elected, to share his knowledge on and help the future of London. Well,
I mean, that's one of the interesting things about Brian Paddick. He has refused to say who he feels that Liberal Democrat voters who are backing him for their first choice should give their second choice vote to. He's not said either Ken Livingstone and he's not said Boris Johnson. So who gets his votes? Those are going to be the crucial ones, because that will be the next biggest chunk of the vote. There were another 7 candidates, but the English Democrats, Matt O'Connor, pulled out of the race. So there's 6 more left. Those 6, they're going to do well if they can manage to secure 5% of the first preference, and that would get their £10,000 deposit back.
Yeah.
But then it's their second choice for those. Anybody that's voted for them, their second choice votes are going to be what counts, and as well as the ones for Brian Paddick. And if Brian Paddick had come out and said, listen, you're a Liberal Democrat voter, please vote for Boris or please vote for Ken,
sure,
then that might have given some kind of guidance as to who is going to come out on top, because you would have had a sizable chunk, presumably, of Liberal Democrat voters voting one way or the other on the advice of their own candidate.
Indeed. So just finally, Jonathan, what time tomorrow will we find out the details of who is... what is the lineup? What's going to be happening over the next few hours?
We should also point out that over the next few hours this evening there will be local election results for councils across England and Wales. Some of those in the BBC London patch, places like Welling in Hertfordshire or Harlow in Essex will be one of the earliest ones to declare a result in the BBC London patch. We're expecting that one at about midnight. Others in places like Slough, which might be interesting with all the Polish community there, and others like Watford. Those won't come through till tomorrow afternoon. But in terms of the London Mayor and the London Assembly, Those will come through in different stages. First of all, we expect from around 2, maybe 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon to get the results of the 14 regional members of the London Assembly. That's the people who are representing Londoners on the Assembly for a particular geographical area.
Right.
Once those results have been counted, they'll be added together, and we'll be able to find out who those 11 London-wide members are. That will take a little bit longer, so maybe 4 or 5 o'clock. Then after that, we'll find out the big one: who will be the next mayor of London? Will it, like we say, Boris Johnson or Ken Livingstone? It's almost certain to be one of those two. That will take place about 5 o'clock tomorrow, maybe a bit later. Hopefully there won't be a recount. It won't be that tight, because that would delay it even further. And then there'll be a variety of ceremonies and things that need to be done over the weekend. And by Sunday evening, the new mayor, if indeed there is one, will know who that person is. That will be and they'll be in City Hall. They'll be enshrined on their throne, so to speak, and they'll be able to get on with running the city and getting those policies that they've been promoting over the last few weeks into action. Marvellous. Well, listen, I tell you, throughout the night, we will also, of course, keep in touch about the local elections across England and Wales, and we'll be hearing about that. But in the meantime, Jonathan, thank you very much for updating us.